After 3 long years, Postal's incredible boomer shooter spin-off Brain Damaged has a brand new DLC, an expansion pack that brings a new chapter of absurd events, a host of new enemies, and over-the-top weapons to blast them with. Having fought through countless dreamscape abominations and a series of nightmares in the base game, the Postal dude takes some time for himself and goes on vacation. But, while soaking up the sun, a sweeping policy change goes into effect, stirring up trouble in paradise. The newly appointed president, Ronald Dixon, has enacted an executive order.
I will eradicate the one true source of evil corrupting our great nation, the realest threat to our national security, the red-haired people.
The what?
Starting right now, we're gonna get rid of all the redheads, the gingers, the carrot tops, whatever you call them. They're violent and dangerous. They murder innocent people and cats in broad daylight. They're stealing our jobs!
Stealing our what?
So today, with my first executive order, I'm stripping all redheads of their rights, effective immediately. They're to be deported to, where are gingers from anyway? Iceland.
Within moments, Carrot Top Extermination, or KATE enforcers, are swarming the beaches, with dude falling straight into their crosshairs. Your only recourse now is to take the fight from the beaches to the highest government office and voice your displeasure.
Now look what you've done. You've made it all political. So much for my R&R.
The game begins on sandy shores, with your amassed arsenal stolen. But not to worry, as we'll immediately get our hands on a new melee weapon, the Umbrella. Part Murder Drill, part Kingsman Umbrella Shield. This defensive option is handy to block the incoming charge attacks from Terror Chads and their banana hammocks, before drilling them into the stratosphere.
I regret nothing.
The area is full of character and colour, with these giant beach chairs adding to the dreamlike environment. This invisible man enemy also made me laugh. We'll also find the new piss gun here. A fully loaded beer pistol that shoots out globules capable of stunning enemies momentarily, just like your regular stream. Pumping up the alt fire unleashes the finger gun. Ow! It does relatively low damage, but can apply any piss power up at a greater range and output. I was curious to see if this alt fire would work on switches that you have to fill up, and I'm happy to report that it does. A little tip for when you play: when you reach the hotel, make sure you interact with the gambling games in this room, and then this punching bag upstairs. Then go back downstairs to the room with the stripper pole to get the rocket launcher.
Those moronic developers thought they could hide this from me? Life license revoked.
Obviously some weapons do make a return here, most of which are limited to secrets, meaning the majority of your offensive options will be the new ones. There has clearly been some thought put into enemy placement, and the combat arenas are quite varied all across this resort. There are a lot of set pieces and little moments scattered throughout. This part with the power box that blows you through the wall and back outside into a new area took me by surprise as well, and riding this roller coaster is a bit of silly fun. By the end of the level, we'll find another big change to the game mechanically in the sticky hand.
This'll come in handy.
Where the grappling hook was previously limited to the shotgun, it's now always available, and also has some utility in hitting switches. We then board a cruise ship, where we must fight through its recreational areas and inner mechanical workings to reach the captain's chair and set a new course.
All aboard. Hope there aren't any icebergs on the itinerary.
Postal game wouldn't be complete without a shotgun, and this time we'll find it in the Wiener Grinder that launches hot dogs at Mach 10. You can also load it into a bun for a more explosive effect. There's another really cool set piece here in this freezer where you walk in and all of the enemies are frozen statues. You leave and hit a switch and come back and all of the enemies are unfrozen and you end up fighting them. I think it's just really cool to be primed for a fight like that and then having it pay off a little bit later. The next weapon we'll find is the bubble gun that rapidly shoots colourful cue balls of candy that ricochet off walls, making it supreme in cramped environments. It even reflects how much ammo you have on the weapon itself, which is a nice touch. It also sounds great. The sound design in Brain Damaged is fantastic, and the way all the weapons pop and crunch and blast is the best it's ever been. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for a lot of the alternate firing modes of these weapons. The Bubblegum's alternate puts a shield in front of you, which feels a little redundant, already having the melee weapon that does that, and the hitbox for it is kind of weird. Even when it was deployed, I felt like I was getting hit more than it was, and the damage it does when it's released is very unclear. They all feel a little off, whether it's due to a delay in their deployment or feeling a bit underpowered or just eating up too much ammo without an equivalent payoff. It's nothing fundamental, it just feels like the numbers need some tweaking. The cruise ship is probably the weakest of the new levels as well, mostly because I think it's a huge missed opportunity to not have a big arena fight on the top deck. Regardless, you eventually find the driver's seat and set a course for the White House, which, as we all know, is famously close to the ocean.
Your package has shipped and is now in active delivery.
After disembarking the big boat, we'll get our hands on the final new weapon, a radioactive sniper rifle.
If the sting doesn't kill you, the fallout will.
The vantage point you find it on overlooks a rally and gives you a great opportunity to take it for a test drive. While it looks incredible and does solid damage, shooting it unscoped is completely inaccurate, and I almost never found myself using it. After blasting through the car parks, we'll start coming up against Kate's secret agents.
I saw your search history.
Hi, Gianni. These guys are probably the best new enemy, and the most interesting to fight. They'll often dodge attacks, indicated by this blue phase effect. The best way to counter this is by hitting them with piss first to stagger them, and then follow up with a shotgun blast.
Ow.
Infiltrating the Kate headquarters, this room has an almost Wolfenstein meets Warhammer 40k look. What if the Emperor of Man was a big golden toilet instead?
For the Emperor!
Getting flushed away leads to a rather lengthy sewer section that still manages to have some unique gameplay.
Sewer counter goes brrr.
This mostly takes the form of a lot of bottomless pits you need to navigate across with grappling. You can also find a single instance of the Goliath here. Eventually, we make it back to the surface with a key to the main gate of the Whitest House, but first we need to navigate the hedge maze, as well as my favourite quip.
What am I, a minotaur?
Corey Cruz has done an excellent job at portraying the Postal Dude once again, and there's a lot of charm to his delivery. His performance really embodies the lovable rapscallion, who also happens to kill literally everything in his path. Once you reach the front lawn, there's a pretty hilarious ambush. The battle is also quite thrilling with giants stomping around in the background, even though they don't offer much support to the other enemies. Inside is the final stretch with a long hallway. It's broken up by laser barriers, and there's a bunch of side rooms that need to be cleared to progress. It's simple, but I really like this very clear design and sense of progression here. Beyond this door is the last level that consists of the final boss fight. I won't spoil it because I think it's worth experiencing firsthand if possible. The humour in general is still a cocktail of absurdism, pee-pee poo-poo, and dunking on pop culture and current events. There's plenty of outdated memes and cringe-adjacent humour, but it feels very tongue-in-cheek, almost like it's trying to provoke a response by being so out of date.
This nom is good.
The Postal series has always dabbled in the political, or more accurately, the politically incorrect, but this is probably as overt as it's ever been. The government deporting every redhead in the country isn't exactly subtle. Given the time it would have been written, Kate is obviously a stand-in for Doge, but it actually feels more relevant today. How much it resonates with you will probably depend on your level of exposure to the endless hellscape of US politics. Outside of a few issues with the guns and a couple of nitpicks about the levels, I had some issues with the lighting being broken in a few areas, and some of the small stuff that I've been assured already has fixes coming down the pipeline. These things aside, I had a lot of fun with PTSD, and it begins and ends really strong. Overall, it's a solid standalone adventure and a great excuse to boot up Brain Damaged again. It harkens back to expansion packs of old, being a relatively self-contained experience with a strong thematic twist. It's basically Life's a Beach for Duke Nukem, but the cutscenes are actually animated. Thanks for watching. Are you going to play these sunny days? What do you think about the new weapons and enemies? Let me know what you thought in the comments below. I didn't have as much time as usual to endlessly agonize over the script, but maybe that's a good thing. I played through the game a number of times now, but I'd still consider this a first impressions kind of a vibe rather than a full review or breakdown.